Unbelievable encounter. FBI agent reveals hidden truth after police slap her in the park. It was an ordinary Saturday morning when Emily Harper decided to revel in the simplicity of her suburban life. As the sun bathed Maplewood in warm golden rays, Emily, a 34-year-old single mother and dedicated FBI agent, took a break from her tireless pursuit of justice. Today was about her kids Mia and Jake. They giggled together at the local park, running through the grass, their laughter mingling with the soft rustle of leaves overhead. But then, in a sharp twist, the laughter shattered. An officer approached, his brow furrowed with a mix of authority and misunderstanding, hand resting on his holstered weapon. "Ma'am, could you please control your children?" he barked. Emily's heart sank. She was kneeling, laughing while pretending to chase them, a moment of joy that suddenly felt sinister. "Sir, we're just playing," she replied, maintaining her composure amid anxiety. The officer's expression hardened. "This isn't a game." Before she could respond, he slapped her on the shoulder. The blow wasn't heavy, but it carried weight. The sting reverberated deeper than skin. Nearby congregants fell silent, eyes widened like deer caught in headlights. The laughter faded, and she felt humiliation creep into her chest, tightening like a vice. How could someone misinterpret a mother's love as misconduct? As she stood there, heart racing, she caught Mia's trembling bottom lip and Jack's confused gaze, asking her silently what had just happened. Emotions spun like leaves in a gust. The pressure of her job, the longing for normalcy, all collapsing. But even in the wake of shock, Emily found a thread of strength. She could not allow fear or insecurity to rip away the trust her children had in her. Days passed, but the slap lingered, scratching at her pride. A circle of friends gathered in her backyard that weekend, laughter bubbling over the grill as they shared their own stories of feeling judged or marginalized within their tightly knit community. Each tale ignited something in Emily. It wasn't just her. A swath of people in Maplewood felt stifled, unseen. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Fueled by that fire, Emily began a covert investigation. The deeper she dug, the uglier the connections grew. Links between the police force and local gang leaders who puppeteered the town with menacing strings of power. She felt the weight of her badge like iron chains. It was no longer just about enforcing the law. It was about rooting out a cancer festering beneath Maplewood's surface. But as things spiraled, whispers began to follow her. Friends turned cold, their faces uncertain, and she realized her journey toward truth was changing the way people viewed her. They questioned her integrity, her judgment. In the onslaught of doubt, she battled an inner storm, fearing her family was now also caught in peril. With each piece of incriminating evidence she uncovered, her world shifted further. And when she faced a shocking ally who suddenly stood in her path, Emily felt the familiar sensation of panic grip her chest. Would the truth she fought so hard for cost her everything? Standing on the precipice of action, the ominous question loomed over her life. In the relentless pursuit of justice, what was she willing to lose? Time ticked away, drawing her closer to a choice that would forever change Maplewood and her family. The morning light streamed through Emily's kitchen window as she poured herself a cup of coffee. The warmth of the mug contrasted with the chill of uncertainty settling in her chest. Lately, every sip tasted bitter, each memory of that day in the park haunting her. Mia and Jake played in the living room, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beyond their innocent world. Determined not to let her children sense her turmoil, Emily plastered on a smile, all too aware that she needed to maintain a facade for them. "Hey, how about a trip to the library later? We can pick out some new books," she announced, her voice bright with forced enthusiasm. Their eyes gleamed, and the room buzzed with their excited cheers. But even as they hopped around her with glee, her mind raced. The investigation had escalated quickly. She was on to something big with ties leading not just from the police, but also hinting at influential community members who had been tarnished by corruption. Each lead drew her deeper into a web of deceit that threatened not only her career but her family's safety. Deciding she needed to share her findings with someone who might understand, she reached out to her old partner, Chris. He had always been a steadfast ally, a voice of reason in chaotic times. The two met at a small diner where the smell of bacon and fresh coffee filled the air. Emily felt the weight of their fractured friendship, years of camaraderie being tested. "Emily," Chris leaned back, concern etching lines across his face as he absorbed her revelations. "You know how dangerous this is. You've caught the attention of some pretty serious people." "I can't back down now," she replied, determination sharpening her voice. "These people are hurting the community, Chris. Look what that officer did to me. This isn't just about me anymore, this is about everyone who feels vulnerable." Chris rubbed the back of his neck, a sign he was truly considering her words. "But you have kids, Em. You know the risk. It might not just be your badge at stake." His words hit her like ice water, sending chills down her spine. "If I don't do this, who will? I have to protect my children by ensuring they grow up in a safe community. I can't ignore this." Defiance rose within her, propelling her to continue unraveling the threads of a conspiracy that ran far deeper than she had initially imagined. After their tense conversation, Emily left the diner, feeling empowered yet vulnerable. The future felt uncertain, shadows looming at every corner. Back at home, she found Mia assembling a puzzle on the floor while Jake flipped through a comic book. Their laughter bubbled up, but Emily's heart ached with the weight of her secrets. What would happen if they found out their mother was risking everything for justice? Just then, Emily's phone buzzed a text from an anonymous number. Her heart raced as she opened it, revealing a threat: "Stop digging if you care about your family." Emily's breath caught in her throat. She instantly felt the room's air grow thick and oppressive. How could she protect her children without allowing fear to crush her resolve? The delicate balance of her dual life as a mother and an agent was unraveling. What kind of monster had she awakened? And as she stared into her children's bright, untroubled faces, she realized that whatever came next would require her to face not just the world outside but the darkness inside herself. With powerful forces gathering around her, a pivotal choice loomed on the horizon. Would she walk away for their safety, or plunge deeper into the chaos for the truth that demanded her witness? In the silence, the storm surged. And in that moment of uncertainty, the question loomed larger than ever: was she brave enough to fight back? Emily closed her eyes, inhaling the scent of fresh coffee mixed with the faint aroma of her children's lunch. It was a comforting blend, whispering promises of normalcy, yet her gut churned with anxiety. The text lingered in her mind, a stark reminder that danger was very real and very close. And now, more than ever, she needed to protect her family, not just keep their lives safe from outside threats, but also shield their innocence from the darkness she was about to dive into. "Mommy, can you help us with our project?" Mia's sweet voice cut through her thoughts. Emily opened her eyes to find her daughter's expectant face, filled with youthful eagerness. She knelt down, smiling, trying to push away the heaviness weighing on her heart. "Of course, sweetheart. What are we working on?" She joined them on the floor, fitting pieces into the colorful puzzle. One corner at a time. As they placed the last piece, Emily feigned joy. A part of her wanted to freeze this moment in time, where laughter echoed freely and reality was simply a fun puzzle. But outside, reality was jagged edges and shadows. "Mommy!" Jake's voice chimed in again, snapping her back from the brink. "Can we go to the park after the library?" "Sure, buddy," she replied, forcing enthusiasm she didn't feel. "Just a quick stop to pick out books, and then we can spend some time outside." Their chatter filled her ears, but her mind raced. Could they go to the park? What if someone was watching? The thought twisted her stomach. Still, how could she deny them? The sun was shining bright outside, and they had as much right to enjoy it as anyone else. As they finished the puzzle, Emily felt the buzz of her phone again, tearing her moment of peace away. Another text. "Do not go to the park. You don't know what you're getting into." Her heart pounded. The anonymous message felt like a chokehold, squeezing her from all sides. She needed clarity, support. Determined to act, she reached for her old phone book, outdated, but crucial for her plans. Before dinner, when the kids were in bed, she picked up the phone and dialed. The line rang 2 times before a familiar voice answered. "Chris." "It's me," she said, her voice tight. "Can we meet again?" "Tonight. I need you. I need someone who understands how serious this is. Emily, please." Her voice was steady, but desperation crept in, a barely concealed tremor. "I need to know how to protect them." Chris sighed on the other end. "Okay. Same diner?" "Yeah. I'll be there." After hanging up, Emily sat in the quiet house, the shadows creeping back in. She scanned the living room, fixing on the bright crayon drawings Mia and Jake had left scattered across the coffee table. The innocent colors looked vibrant against the dimness threatening to close in. What was she doing? She felt like an imposter in her own life, caught between being their protector and being the one inviting danger into their lives. The stakes felt impossibly high, and with every decision, the risk grew larger, but she couldn't walk away. Not after everything she had uncovered. The very integrity of the community was at stake. Somewhere along the way, she had stitched herself to a cause that was bigger than just her life and her children's safety. A cause that could ripple out and touch countless lives. As the clock ticked towards their meeting, she felt the weight of the world settle on her shoulders, brimming with determination and dread. Arriving at the diner, she found Chris already seated, his brow furrowed in worry. "You're sure about this?" "Absolutely," Emily replied, heart racing. "I have to know what I'm up against." But just as she leaned forward to share her findings, the door swung open, and a figure stepped inside that made her heart skip a beat. Their eyes locked, a face she recognized all too well from the park incident. The room shook with tension. And with that, the storm she'd tried to contain surged forward, demanding to be faced. What would happen next, now that the enemy was no longer a mere shadow? Emily's mind raced as the figure entered, every instinct screaming at her to dive behind the nearest booth. But she stayed put, frozen in a combination of disbelief and terror. The stranger moved toward her, a confident stride cutting through the diner's dim light like a knife. "Emily," he said, a crooked smile playing on his lips that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Long time no see." It was Mark Stevens, the man she had seen at the park. Panic surged within her. How had he found her? Why was he here? Her heart thudded heavily in her chest, overriding the normal chatter of the diner. She glanced at Chris, who was clearly just as unsettled by Mark's presence. "Do you know him?" Chris's voice was low, his eyes darting between Emily and the man approaching them. "Not really," Emily replied, tensing as the reality of the situation sank in. Mark had been linked to the shadows she was trying to unravel, and now she was face to face with him. "So you're still digging, huh?" Mark continued, leaning over their table with an unsettling familiarity. "You should really stop. It's not safe to play with things you don't understand." She felt the ground beneath her shift, a tremor of fear washing over her. Did he know everything? The thought sent a chill down her spine. "What do you mean?" she managed to ask, her voice a whisper barely loud enough to breach the din of conversations around them. "Let us just say some holes are better left undug," he replied cryptically, his gaze flicking to Chris in a way that made him uncomfortable enough to shift in his seat. "Who are you working for?" Emily blurted out, the question slipping from her lips before she could think twice. There was an undeniable edge of defiance in her voice. The moment had come for her to stand her ground. Mark chuckled, though there was nothing light-hearted about it. "Think you're playing the hero? This isn't a fairy tale, Emily. You're not equipped for this." "I'm not afraid of the truth," she shot back, her conviction rising. Chris leaned in closer, the urgency thickening the air around them. "We can leave, Emily. This isn't worth it." "No," she said firmly, meeting Chris's worried eyes. "Not until I know what he's really after." Mark's demeanor shifted slightly, his playful smirk hardened. "You're a real piece of work, you know that?" But I'm not going to threaten you today. I'm just here to give you a word of advice. Back off while you still can. He turned to leave, and Emily's pulse quickened. Wait! She called, desperation lacing her voice. What do you know about the community? What are you hiding? He paused, but didn't he turn back? What's hidden in plain sight is always the scariest, Miss Emily. Just remember, shadows never lie. With that, he pushed open the diner door and left with a final glance that sent a jagged wave of apprehension through her. What just happened? Chris asked, bewilderment tracing his features. Emily felt her resolve hardening. I think we just scratched the surface of something much bigger. As fear clawed at her insides, she knew one thing. The answers were out there, and she wouldn't hide anymore. The booth felt smaller now, as if the walls were closing in on her. She needed to think, needed to confide in Chris without holding back any longer. They were in deeper than they ever anticipated. I need you to trust me, she murmured, her voice stronger than she felt. I need to go back to the park tomorrow. I have a feeling this is far from over. Outside, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting ominous shadows across the path she had to take. And just as she turned back to Chris, a sudden thought gripped her heart. Could Mark really be a part of something larger? If the shadows never lie, then what did he know of the secrets they were attempting to unravel? The answers loomed ahead, and with each beat of her heart, an urgency to uncover the truth ignited within her. How deep did the shadows stretch? The next day dawned gray and overcast, the sky threatening rain as Emily stood at the entrance of the park. Her heart raced with anticipation and dread, a tight knot forming in her stomach. Each step deeper into the park felt like venturing into uncharted territory. She was aware of every sound, the rustle of leaves, distant laughter, and the crunch of gravel beneath her feet. Emily, are you sure? Chris asked, hanging back a couple of paces. The worry in his voice was palpable. She could see it etched on his face. This doesn't seem right. What if Mark shows up again? Emily turned to Chris, squeezing his hand briefly. It felt reassuring, a tether to normalcy in the chaos swirling around them. I need to know what he meant. Remember what he said about the truth. It's all connected. She had never felt so driven, but the fear was there too, lurking just beneath the surface. They wandered deeper into the park, where the trees stood sentinel against the encroaching clouds. The air crackled with tension, and Emily felt a strange sense of déjà vu as they approached the old oak tree where she had first seen Mark. Should we split up? Chris suggested, his eyes scanning the area. Maybe we can cover more ground that way. No, Emily replied firmly. I don't want to take any chances. We stick together. Suddenly, a movement caught her eye. A figure loomed at the edge of the park, tall and imposing, with a sharp silhouette that sent chills down her spine. It was Mark. I knew you'd come back, he called, his voice echoing through the stillness. Curiosity always leads to trouble, doesn't it? Emily's heart raced. What do you want from us? She shouted back, trying to keep her fear at bay. Mark stepped closer, a vulture circling its prey. Oh, Emily, it's not about what I want. It's what you're willing to discover, or what you're willing to lose. Chris stepped protectively in front of Emily, glaring at Mark. We've had enough of your riddles. Just tell us what you know. Mark laughed, a chilling sound that reverberated through the air. You're naive if you think you can just walk away. This is bigger than you both. What do you mean? Emily's voice trembled, but she forced herself to stand tall. Let us just say your little community is hiding something. A lot of someone's, actually. The kind of secrets that can destroy lives. Emily's breath hitched. You think you can intimidate me into silence? He took another step forward, dropping his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. You have no idea who you're dealing with, do you? She felt Chris's hand on her shoulder, grounding her. We just want the truth, he said, unwavering. Mark's eyes glittered like shards of glass as he studied them, weighing their determination against something hidden in his gaze. Fine. If you want answers, follow me. Without waiting for a response, he turned and began walking down a narrow path obscured by thick foliage. Emily's instinct screamed at her to run, but the allure of the truth held her captive. She exchanged a glance with Chris, who, despite his fears, nodded slowly. "Let us go," Emily said, steeling herself. They followed Mark deeper into the park, through twisting paths and thick undergrowth, the world around them fading into shadows. The air was thick with an invisible weight, pressing against their chests as they ventured further. "What are we getting into?" Chris whispered, but Emily didn't answer. The thrill of the unknown surged through her veins, but doubt prickled in the back of her mind. What were they about to uncover? The finality of their decision loomed ahead, and just as Mark turned another corner, a flash of movement caught Emily's eye, a glimpse of something hidden within the darkness, something that felt dangerous and alive. As they continued on this precarious journey, Emily felt a growing sense of urgency. What awaited them in the shadows? Would it all tie back to the heart of the community, to the web of secrets Mark had hinted at? She could feel it deep down. They were closer to the truth than ever, and it might just tear their worlds apart. Emily's heart thudded in her chest, a steady drumbeat of anxiety. She glanced at Chris, who wore his apprehension openly. Their breaths mingled with the steel-tinged air, the park's mysterious aura tightening around them. Mark led them down a twisted path, branches clawing at their clothes like fingers trying to pull them back. "Why are you doing this?" Emily demanded, desperation creeping into her voice. "What do you want from us?" Mark stopped abruptly, turning to face them. "You're going to want to listen carefully now. Those secrets I mentioned? They're dangerous, and they're not just about the community. They're about you." Chris tilted his head. "What do you mean about us?" Mark's lips curled into a smirk. "Everything you think you know could unravel, and fast. This isn't just a game for me. I've seen things you can't imagine." His gaze pierced through the dappled light, making Emily shiver. "What do you mean?" Emily pressed, her voice wavering. She could feel the shadows closing in, her instincts screaming to turn back. "There are people involved who want their secrets exposed. They've gotten used to their power, their control. You and Chris, you're just pawns in a much larger game." Emily's mind raced. "How do you know about us? What do you know?" Mark waved his hand dismissively, the gesture almost bored. "It's not what I know. It's what you need to discover. There's a group extremely influential in your community." The wind rustled through the trees, echoing the growing unease within her. "What group? Who are they?" "Let's just say they operate in shadows and they have reached deeper than you think. Religion, politics, it all intertwines. They'll do anything to protect their interests." Chris stepped closer to Emily, instinctively anchoring her. "Are you saying there's a conspiracy? And we're just supposed to follow you into this?" Mark's expression turned serious. "You're already in it. It just takes a nudge to make you aware. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Or you could walk away now. But if you do that, you might never learn the truth." Emily's pulse quickened. Every fiber of her being wanted to bolt, yet the pull of what lay ahead was undeniable. "What's your endgame, Mark?" Chris asked, skepticism coloring his tone. "What do you gain from this?" "That's not important right now," Mark replied cryptically, stepping aside to reveal a clearing. "What matters is what you do next." In the center of the clearing stood an old wooden sign, weathered and carved with symbols she didn't recognize. It was partly obscured by vines, but there was an unmistakable sense of finality about it. Emily felt drawn in, curiosity mingling with fear. "What's that sign?" Mark crossed his arms. "The starting point. All the questions you have? They lead back here. This place is a piece of a puzzle too big to ignore. You can choose to delve into the mystery or turn back to your safe little lives. What if we want to trust you?" Emily said, taking a cautious step forward. "Then you need to open your eyes and be ready for the fallout," Mark replied, his tone becoming grave. "Because once you know, there's no unlearning it." Silence fell around them, heavy like a weight pressing down on their shoulders. Emily searched Mark's face for any hint of sincerity, but his expression gave nothing away. "Are you ready for this, Emily?" Chris asked quietly, his voice now a whisper. In that moment, she felt the gravity of their choice. What lay just beyond the sign could not only change their day, it could change everything they knew about their lives, their community, their very identities. Emily took a deep breath. Let us find out what happens next. But as they stepped towards the clearing, a sudden rustle came from the bushes behind them. The hairs on her neck stood up, adrenaline flooding her veins. Someone's coming, Chris warned, his eyes darting toward the sound. As the figure emerged from the shadows, Emily's breath caught in her throat. This face wasn't unfamiliar, it was someone she recognized. Emily? The stranger's voice trembled. You shouldn't be here, not now. Everything about this moment felt wrong yet undeniable, the looming secrets creeping closer, ready to either shatter their lives or set them on a path they never could have imagined. But who was this new arrival? What would they reveal? Emily's mind raced as she took in the sight of the newcomer. It was Jenna, her childhood friend who had vanished from their lives a year ago. The piercing look in her eyes, full of fear and urgency, wrapped around Emily like a cold shroud. Jenna? Emily finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. What are you doing here? Jenna took a few quick steps forward, glancing nervously around the clearing. You shouldn't be here. It's not safe. I thought I lost you both. The urgency in her tone hung heavy in the air, mixing with the eerie stillness of the park. Chris moved closer to Emily, protective instincts flaring. You know these secrets Mark was talking about? He asked, his voice edged with concern. Are they real? Jenna swallowed hard, nodding slowly. Yes. I've seen things, I've heard things. People shouldn't know what I know. It's too dangerous. Her eyes darted again toward the darkened trees. We need to leave, now. But before anyone could react, Mark stepped forward. You're in deeper than you think, Jenna. If they're already after you, bringing them here won't help. Emily felt her heart racing as all this information washed over her. What do you mean? Who are they? Jenna hesitated, panic etching deeper lines on her forehead. They're a group that watches. They don't like loose ends, and they've connected to the community in ways that suddenly, the rustling intensified from the shadows, sending a flurry of tension rippling through the air. Chris moved to shield Emily, and Jenna's breath quickened further. We don't have time for this, she insisted. I can explain everything, but we have to go. Emily's instincts warred with her desire to know the truth. Jenna, wait. I need to understand. You disappeared without a word. We thought you were gone forever. The vibrant memories of their shared moments flooded back, giggles, inside jokes, the bond of childhood friends. And now Jenna looked like a ghost of that past, shadows marking her features. I didn't want you to find out like this. You're all wrapped up in something so much bigger than you realize, Jenna said, her voice trembling. And it's not just about the two of you anymore. They're watching. It's dangerous for everyone you care about. We must leave. But the sign. The secrets. Mark interjected, his expression flickering between annoyance and concern. They'll find you. Emily felt warmth pool in her chest, a spark igniting in her heart. This was more than just fear, it was hope for answers, a reunion, a longing for clarity. Jenna, don't you want answers too? Don't you want to fight back? In that moment, the soft murmurs of the wind carried a distant sound, a low, rumbling voice cutting through the unease of the clearing. It felt like a warning. Emily, we don't have time. Jenna insisted, desperation rising in her voice. Chris turned to Emily, searching her eyes. You want to confront this? But it's not just our lives at stake. What about our families? Everything could change if we dig too deep. Mark was growing impatient. This isn't an adventure, Emily. It's a trap that will pull you under. The air buzzed with dread, each word weighted by the meaning behind it. Emily's heart raced. This was a moment, a pivotal point in their lives. The secrets danced just out of reach, but she couldn't ignore the warmth of friendship at her side. Do we run or do we fight? She whispered to Chris, the question hanging between them like a fragile thread. Before he could answer, the rumbling voice grew louder, solidifying her realization. This was more than a secret, it was a reckoning. Every decision would lead them deeper into something they might never come back from. From the thicket, two shadowy figures emerged, eyes glinting like daggers in the fading light. Emily's breath hitched in her throat. "Seems you've found some company," one sneered, a chilling smile spreading across their face. In that instant, Emily understood, whatever she chose, there was no turning back now. They were already ensnared, and what awaited them could either destroy them or unveil a truth they had yet to comprehend. But who were the newcomers? And what would they demand from them next? The shadowy figures stepped closer, their intentions unclear, but the malice in their eyes was unmistakable. Emily could feel the tension wrapping around their little group like a thick fog, gripping them all in varying degrees of fear and uncertainty. "Who are you?" Chris shouted, his protective stance firm. The urgent need to shield Emily had molded a hard edge to his voice. The figures shared a look, an unspoken agreement passing between them, before the taller one stepped forward. "We're here for Jenna," he said, confident and smooth, his words carrying the weight of authority. "And we think you all know more than you're letting on." Emily's heart raced at the implication. Jenna stifled a gasp, her face pale. "No! You can't take me back." "Back?" Mark echoed, confusion mixing with dread. "What do you mean?" Jenna's hands trembled as she looked at her friends. "I thought I escaped. I thought I could run, but it seems they've found me here," she whispered. The second figure, a woman with steely determination etched into her features, crossed her arms. "We're not the enemy, Jenna. But you're endangering yourself. You need to come with us, and we can protect you." "Protect her?" Chris shouted incredulously, stepping forward. "You think dragging her off is going to protect her? Do you have any idea what you're putting us all through?" Emily felt a surge of anger mingle with the fear. "What does she need to be protected from?" she demanded. "What's really going on here?" The man's eyes glinted with annoyance. "Things are moving fast, and you need to understand that you're all in over your heads. Jenna carries information that could jeopardize everything. If you care about her, you want to interfere." Mark shook his head. "You're not making any sense. Jenna's our friend. We want to just let you take her." Jenna turned to Emily, tears glistening in her eyes. "I can't go back. Please believe me." The emotions boiled within Emily, a turbulent mix of fear for Jenna and a desperation to uncover the truth. "What's the truth? Why would they want you? What do you know?" Before Jenna could respond, the rumbling voice returned, louder this time, a disembodied warning carried on the wind. A sense of unease settled in, like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. "Enough!" The woman in authority snapped, her voice cutting through the tension. "You need to listen. There are forces at play that want Jenna silenced. It goes beyond this place." Emily's gaze flicked to Chris, then back to Jenna. "What do you want from us?" she pressed, praying that the aching gap between them and the truth would close. The man's expression hardened. "This is not a negotiation. You need to decide now. Will you step aside, or will you come with us and face the consequences?" A shadow darted from behind a tree, and Emily instinctively took a step back, heart racing. The world felt warped around them, every sound amplified, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. Behind them, the distant rumble crescendoed into something more tangible, an approaching threat unlike anything they had faced before. "Emily," Chris whispered, grabbing her hand, grounding her. "Are we really going to let them do this?" The air thickened with the weight of choice. The moment was overwhelming, each second stretched endlessly before them, filled with uncertainty. "Do we trust them, or do we stay for Jenna?" Emily breathed, haunted by the real possibility that the choice she made now could change everything. Emily turned to Jenna, searching for any hint of reassurance. Instead, her friend looked lost, a faint glimmer of hope battling against the stark fear. With the threat drawing closer, and tensions rising, Emily's mind raced. The ground beneath them felt uncertain, as if it was shifting with every passing second. "Together or apart?" she murmured, her heart pounding as the ominous figures loomed closer. But even as she waited for the answer, she realized that the truth was more complicated than she had ever imagined. in her gut, she felt an urging that whatever lay ahead would unveil something far deeper, something they weren't yet ready to comprehend. Just then, a loud crash sounded from the trees behind them. A massive figure emerged. Faces turned, the immediate danger shifting the ground beneath them yet again. "Get back!" Chris yelled, as they all instinctively moved closer together. But what was emerging from the shadows? Friend, foe, or something entirely unexpected? The towering figure broke through the underbrush, revealing a burly man clad in a dark jacket, a badge gleaming on his belt. "FBI!" he barked, his voice booming and commanding. The atmosphere shifted instantly, confusion giving way to a palpable tension. The shadowy figures leaned back, visibly taken aback. "Back off, all of you!" he ordered, eyes darting between the group of friends and the ominous figures. Emily watched the tall man in authority stiffen, but to her surprise, he didn't move to challenge the newcomer. "What is this?" the man demanded, stepping closer to the group. "Are you in danger? Who are you?" Jenna's face lit with a mix of hope and disbelief. "I didn't think anyone would come for me." The second figure, the woman, shifted, readying herself to defend, but the burly man's stance remained solid, unyielding. "You can't take her," he growled. "Not without a warrant. You know that." Jenna took a step towards him, her voice shaky but fierce. "They're after me. You have to believe me. I can't go back. Please help." Emily felt Chris squeeze her hand tighter, and in the chaos of emotions swirling around her, she wondered who this man was. FBI agents were supposed to root out the bad guys, not save friends. Was he really here to help, or was there another agenda at play? "Step aside," the burly man instructed the shadowy figures, his tone now milder but still commanding. "We'll sort this out. No one is going anywhere until I get some answers." The taller figure finally spoke again, frustration etching lines across his face. "You don't understand what's at stake here. Jenna knows too much." "Enough," the agent interrupted, raising a hand. "You'll need to explain yourselves. Anyone with evidence against you has a right to protection." Behind him, Emily spotted movement in the trees, a flicker of something or someone else moving fast. Her heart raced, the quiet buzzing apprehension creeping under her skin. "Look," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "we need answers. If there's a threat, we deserve to know. We're not just going to stand here while you all talk around us." Mark shifted nervously, glancing between them. "What if Jenna's right? What if they're dangerous? We can't just let them take her." "Jenna!" The agent's voice cut through the noise, drawing her attention back. "Is there anywhere safe we can go? Talk away from this." Jenna hesitated, glancing between her friends and the agent. "I don't know. I thought I was safe here." "I thought then let us figure this out," the agent pressed, his eyes fierce and focused. "But we need to move now." Just then, a terrible sound ripped through the air, like thunder suddenly crashing down. The group froze, the earth beneath them trembling. The ominous shadowy figures now looked poised to fold in on themselves, uncertainty flashing across their faces. "Stand together!" Chris shouted, pulling Emily close while keeping his gaze on the figures. "Whatever happens now, we stick together!" A new scream erupted from somewhere deeper in the park, not far from where they stood. It echoed ominously, sending shivers down Emily's spine. What was happening around them? The foundation of their world felt fragile, as if the safety they had taken for granted was crumbling in real time. She inhaled sharply, the air thick with tension, eyes darting from the agent to Jenna, the shadows inching forward again. "We can't let this escalate," she whispered, urging Jenna, "we need your truth." As Jenna took a deep breath, steeling herself, Emily realized they were at the brink of something monumental. The air crackled with uncertainty, and instinct nodded in her gut. A truth was unfolding, one they might not be ready for. But just as the pieces seemed to shift into place, another figure appeared, this time a woman dressed in a sharp suit, moving through the trees with a determined gait. What would she reveal? Was she friend or foe? "Jenna, we're here for you!" the new woman shouted, and in that moment, everything was about to change. The air hung thick with tension as the newest arrival stepped forward, her heels crunching on the gravel, assertiveness radiating from her. "I'm Agent Dawson," she declared, trusting and fearless, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy swirling around. Emily felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this was the ally they needed. "Agent? You're with the FBI?" Mark's cockiness faltered, his bravado slipping. "What do you want with her?" Dawson's gaze shifted to Jenna, piercing through the confusion surrounding them. "You have information that we need, Jenna. We didn't know where you were, but now, it's crucial for your safety," she said, urgency threading her voice. Jenna's breath caught, and emotions flickered across her face, the weight of the past pulling her in opposite directions. "I wanted to be free," she finally whispered, "but they're everywhere." Chris shifted closer to Emily. "Are we just going to believe them?" However, his voice faltered. They had witnessed the shadows lurking behind their lives. "Enough." The burly man stepped forward. "This isn't how this is going to go. If she's in danger, we can ensure her safety, but not here. Not with them." His eyes held a fierce determination that radiated strength. "Dawson, what's the plan?" Emily asked, conviction growing in her chest. "We need a safe house where we can talk, somewhere you'll be protected and can finally share what you know," Dawson replied, her sharp tone sharpening the urgency of the moment. "This doesn't end here. The threats aren't just under the surface, they're in every corner of Maplewood." A low rumble echoed, accentuating the gathering clouds overhead. A storm was brewing, it matched the tension in the air. "Then let us move," Emily urged, feeling the weight of all that was at stake not just for Jenna, but for her family, her community. Before they could act, the two shadowy figures exchanged a frantic glance, their intent shifting. "You really think you can just take her away?" The woman spat defiantly, backing away slightly, weighing their options. "Trust me, you don't want to be on the wrong side of this," Agent Dawson warned, stepping toward them. In that moment, the ground vibrated with another sound. They were surrounded. The shadows seemed to stretch infinitely, inching closer. The energy was palpable, a storm of fear and determination that sparked an intensity within Emily. "Together!" Chris shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Stick close!" In that decisive moment, their bond forged in fear became their greatest strength. Emily grabbed Jenna's hand, squeezing it tightly as they all formed a protective circle around her. Another wave of doubt crashed against Emily's resolve, but as she looked into Jenna's pleading eyes, she felt something shift. This was about more than just them. It was about everyone they loved and the future they fought for. Emily wasn't ready to back down. "We're not afraid," Emily declared, the words bursting forth with fierce bravery. "We want to let your shadows rule us." In that small declaration of defiance, Emily felt a flicker of light. The shadows might be tall and foreboding, but together, they could shine through the darkness. "Make your choice," the woman echoed back, her eyes narrowing. "Enough of this." The FBI agent pushed forward resolutely. "We either face this together, or we scramble for survival." Standing firm, Mark finally relented, the uncertainty on his face softening. "We want the truth. We'll protect Jenna." As if in response, the storm broke overhead, rain cascading down, mingling with the tension in the air. But in that chaotic moment, it felt freeing. They were uniting against a common threat, and on the precipice of revealing a truth that could shake Maplewood to its core. Emily inhaled deeply. "Let us get out of here." Hand in hand, they turned their backs on the looming shadows and began to move towards the path the FBI agent had designated. Together, the group stormed ahead, not just with fear, but with determination, a community reborn in the face of adversity. The rain poured down harder, washing away the uncertainty, each drop a reminder of their resolve. They were fighting for one another, each step taken together illuminating the darkness, empowering the truth to break free. As they stepped into the clearing beyond the trees, Emily felt a fierce wave of hope surging through her, a hope that this journey would not just protect the ones she loved, but inspire those in Maplewood to rise against the unseen forces that sought to keep them bound in shadow. They were ready to reclaim their community and unearth the truth. And as they reached the road leading to safety, Emily looked back, her heart swelling with determination. This wasn't just the end, it was just the beginning of something transformative. Now they would uncover the secrets, face the shadows, and reveal the radiant truth hiding beneath. In that moment, fear turned into a powerful surge because they were together, stepping into a new dawn ready to embrace whatever came next. If you felt that surge of hope, then you need to subscribe immediately to keep up with this journey. This is the moment to show your support, so leave a like now to feed the algorithm. And comment your reactions and feelings about this intense ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us shine a light on the truth.